Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel, ASMRJ. Welcome back everyone, welcome back. In tonight's video, if you can tell by the title and by the thumbnail, I'll be reading from this book here. This book is titled The Book of Unusual Knowledge. It took about, oh wow, that's just a fact right off the beginning. Does it not say who this book is by? Interesting. Let's look at the front cover first. It should say that, shouldn't it? It does not. Huh. It's very interesting. It does not say the author of this book. It's unknown. I believe my grandmother came across this book some time ago. Some very, very many moons ago. By that I mean sometime last year. And she gifted it to me because she thought it'd be something I enjoy. And she's exactly correct. So let's do some tracing. KNOWLEDGE. The Book of Unusual Knowledge. So, I did a little bit of reading through this book just to see if it had anything interesting. And it has some cool stuff. It's this weird, like, hardback, like hard plastic cover. It has like almost plasticky pages. I mean, I could stick with some paper. But there's some very interesting facts. I have not read all the way through this book, but I was reading through the table of contents, and the first chapter is about famous movies and things in Hollywood. And I thought that would get some enjoyment out of people. So, if you like this video, and you would like me to continue this series of reading through this Book of Unusual Knowledge, please let me know by leaving a like on this video, and also leaving a comment down below what you thought of the video. Also, if you wouldn't mind, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me. I know other YouTubers, they talk about how they look in the description and it's like 80% of you aren't subscribed, which to me is not a big deal. It just means that people are watching my content, which is very cool. But there is people consistently who watch my videos who aren't subscribed. So if you would please consider it, it's free, and it helps me get seen by the algorithm so more people can enjoy the content. It's really cool. So I just want more people to see what I have to offer, because I feel like I have something to offer in this space. I don't know, maybe not. As of right now, we are sitting at 191 subscribers. We're really, really, really close to hitting the 200 subscriber mark. So please consider subscribing. I originally was going to do a 100 subscriber special. Now I'm going to move it to 200. So if you have any comments about me and questions you want to ask so I can answer in that special, leave them in the comments down below. I will actually be doing the 200 subscriber special. I didn't for the 100, but the only reason 200 subscribers wouldn't happen is if it gets changed to like the 300 subscriber special, if I just like blow past 200, which we may. We've been really picking up some speed in the last couple weeks, which has been really cool. The first ASMR roleplay went up yesterday, and that video has been doing remarkably well, so thank you for the support and the continued support on this channel. Alright, so let's do Chapter 1, Movies and Television. That starts on page 8. So I saw some cool things that I was reading through that I think these fun facts are worth talking about. So this section is titled Behind the Films of Our Times. So fact number 1. Editors left a handful of scenes from King Kong 1933 on the cutting room floor. One features the gorilla taking off actress Fay Wray's clothes. Another involves Kong shaking a group of sailors off a bridge and into a spider-infested valley. This scene was so disturbing to a preview audience that it was removed. I can see why both of those scenes were removed. That makes perfect sense to me. Comment below if you've seen the original King Kong. I have, and it's definitely dated, but it's an iconic watch. You have to see it, right? So, Liza Minnelli, the daughter of Judy Garland, Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, ended up marrying Jack Haley Jr., whose father played the Tin Man in the film. Did not know that. I knew that I was joking. So, actress Charlize Theron first got noticed while throwing a fit at a Los Angeles bank. Legend has it that the A-list actress freaked out when a teller wouldn't accept her check. A talent manager handed her his card as she was being escorted out. Wild. That's how she got noticed. The next fact. The cult classic Monty Python and the Life of Brian, 1979. Amazing movie. If you haven't seen the Monty Python films, Life of Brian especially, but also Monty Python and the Holy Grail, please watch them. They are classics and they're awesome. Also watch their comedy sketches. They're ahead of their time. But some of their stuff's dated, but it's besides the point. Was never shown in some countries. Ireland and Norway were among several nations that banned the movie upon its release. Really? I mean, kind of makes sense. It's, it pokes fun at religion and things, so it makes sense. The Aston Martin car driven by James Bond in Goldfinger was later sold at auction for a cool $275,000, making it one of the most expensive props ever to appear in a film. Huh. I guess that makes sense. I mean, those cars are expensive anyways, so, but it's James Bond's car, so that ups it. The script of Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981, called for Harrison Ford's character, Indiana Jones, to engage in a sword fight with an enemy. Oh, I know this one. A scene that would have required hours of filming, but Ford, who was weak and in pain with a nasty case of dysentery, I didn't know it was dysentery, asked director Steven Spielberg, "Can I just shoot the guy instead?" And Spielberg complied. See, that's not the story I heard. I heard he was sick. I didn't know it was dysentery, and I heard he was also injured on set. So he just pulled the gun out and shot. He didn't even ask. Sorry for pointing the gun at you. He didn't even ask Spielberg, from what I understood. He just did it, and they thought it was funny, so they kept it in the movie. Maybe that's not what happened. Maybe it was that he asked Spielberg, and they said, "We'll try it." But I always thought that he just shot, and they said, "Oh, that's hilarious. We'll keep that in the movie." I don't know which one's true. Like I said, I mean, it's in a book, so the source of information should be, but now that I don't know they're the author, I don't know how credible this book is, but it should be credible, right? Alright, so this is facts about Hollywood itself. We can read a few of these. So this is sections called Hollywood, a teetotaling town. Few people realize that although Hollywood became the epicenter of the motion picture industry, the city's original planner had something far different in mind. Carousing actors and painted ladies may have been derriere, I don't know if I pronounced that French right, in certain towns, but H.H. Wilcox's haven was never intended to be one of them. Straight and narrow. Apart from its abundant sunshine and favorable climate, Hollywood seemed perhaps the least likely spot to base an industry that's well known for its seedier side. H.H. Wilcox founded the Southern Californian city not as a progressive hamlet with its eye on an ever-evolving future, but rather as its polar opposite. The city was intended as a persev- perserva- preservationist society where modern excesses would not be tolerated. That it turned into something else is a story in itself. Huh. So originally it was to be like what, like a pioneer town, or an old west town, I guess, because it's in the west. This is the place. Wilcox and his wife, Dadia, I hope I pronounced that name wrong, Data, arrived in Los Angeles in the mid-1800s. A real estate developer of considerable means, Wilcox purchased large tracts of land in Southern California for the purpose of resale. And like any good businessman, he was always on the lookout for more. But in 1887, tragedy struck when the couple's 19-month-old son died of typhoid fever. Oof, that's sad. To ease their despair, the couple took carriage rides into the country. On one of these therapeutic jaunts, Wilcox spied a particularly charming patch of land featuring orange groves and apple orchards, bordered by the picturesque Santa Monica Mountains. This particular chunk of Chattanooga Valley struck the developer as a perfect place to start a town. Interesting. A town develops. A formidable challenge of establishing a town would be daunting to most, but Wilcox was well equipped for the task. Crippled by the same disease that had claimed his infant son, Wilcox had become accustomed to overcoming hardships. The way to achieve his goals, certain of the elements that he desired for his settlement, and those he did not, Wilcox, a strong advocate of the temperature movement, an organized effort to abolish alcohol backed by people who saw drinking as immoral, got busy purchasing a 120-acre expanse for his version of a utopia. Wilcox offered free lots to anyone who would construct Protestant churches on the land. His goal was a society free from saloons, bordellos, and red light districts, excesses that he deemed counterproductive to a clean Christian lifestyle. His wife, Data, came up with the name Hollywood, although it's believed that she copied it from another woman's estate. Either way, the name stuck, and the town began to ascend to infamy. Interesting. So this is the next section. Behind the TV shows of our time. So these are facts about TV shows. I guess that. The globe that once appeared in the background of NBC's nightly news actually spun the wrong way for years before someone caught on. That's interesting. Huh. The first and last lines ever spoken on Seinfeld were exactly the same. Jerry tells George, "See, now to me, that button is the worst possible spot. In the worst possible spot. The second button literally makes or breaks the shirt. Look at it. It's too high. It's in no man's land." That's very interesting. I'm assuming that was planned by Jerry Seinfeld, one of the writers. 3. Before landing the role of Jerry Seinfeld's quirky neighbor Kramer, Michael Richards auditioned to play Al Bundy on Married with Children. Really? He could have played Al Bundy, but I can't think of the actor who plays Al Bundy, but he played the part better. The role of Monica on Friends was offered to Janine Garofalo, who turned it down. Leah Remini, later cast in The King of Queens, also tried out for the part. What's her name in King of Queens? Who's the wife's name? I can't think of her name. What her name is. The empty frame on Monica's door on Friends was supposed to have a mirror on it. After a crew member accidentally broke it, producers decided that they liked the way it looked and left it. Paul Reiser plays the piano in the opening theme song of Mad About You. Really? A sticker on Dwight Schrute's desk on the American version of The Office says Froggy 101, which is the name of an actual country music station in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where the show takes place. This is very interesting because that's in every episode. And I have the Office Lego set. If you watched my Christmas haul, you saw that I got it. That Lego review is coming. And it even has the Froggy 101 sticker. Just fun fact. Fun facts. See what I did there. The Office's John Krasinski and BJ Novak went to high school together and were in the same grade in Newton, Massachusetts. Really? I like how a lot of these are like two things about the same thing, two things about the same thing. It's interesting. Then Michael Keaton began his career as a stagehand on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He helped to puppeteer and operate the trolley. Oh, sorry, my camera fell. What I mean to say was, here's a fun fact. Michael Keaton's real name was actually Michael Douglas, but because the actor, Michael Douglas, was already famous, he decided to change his name to Michael Keaton. I believe Keaton's his middle name, maybe, or something like that. But, or like a friend's name, but he changed his name to Michael Keaton because of Michael Douglas, which is very interesting, right? Alright, I think that last fun fact. Oh no, there's one more. There's one more that I wanted to read. This is titled. Let's get to the page. Oh, where'd I lost it? Oh, no. Here it is. This whole section is titled Dorothy Meets the Dark Side. Somewhere Over the Rainbow isn't the only memorable song tied to the 1939 classic The Wizard of Oz. Many believe this beloved film has an unusual secondary soundtrack, Pink Floyd's classic 1973 album, The Dark Side of the Moon. See, I've heard this theory before, and there's a lot of people who believe it, but from my understanding it's a complete coincidence, which is probably true. But this is fun to think about. This theory is called the Dark Side of the Rainbow theory. Judy Garland and Roger Waters may not seem like a match made in heaven, but thanks to one of pop culture's stranger urban legends, the leading lady from Wizard of Oz may be forever linked to the lead songwriter from Pink Floyd. The reason? Plenty of people insist that Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon was crafted with Garland and her Oz-destined gang in mind. Pop in the movie and play the album at the same time and you'll see a slew of curious connections. In the phenomenon known as Dark Side of the Rainbow, fans cite more than 100 things that seem to sync up when the film and album are played simultaneously. To experience it for yourself, cue up the movie and the album, and as soon as the MGM lion roars for the third time, at the beginning of the film, hit play to start The Dark Side of the Moon and witness the magic. Some of the more noteworthy matchups are as follows. Dorothy balances on a fence as the lyrics "balance on the biggest wave" are heard during the song Breathe. Song Breathe is also fantastic. Dark Side of the Moon is an amazing album, and The Wizard of Oz is a great film. Dorothy falls off the fence and is rescued as the chaotic intro to On the Run begins. Dorothy runs away from home as the line "No one told you when to run" from the song Time is heard. Time is also fantastic. The tornado appears in the sky as the song The Great Gig in the Sky plays, that song is just fantastic. That's I think one of my favorite songs on the album. Some say the song's slide guitar swells with the tornado and that the operatic vocals vary in intensity to match Dorothy's experiences. Interesting. The song Us and Them, actually, I lied. Us and Them is my favorite song on the album, plays as Dorothy meets the Wicked Witch of the West. The word black echoes as the witch first appears. The phrase black and blue is sung as the two talk in the scene. Dorothy wears a blue dress. the witch wears black. That one is very interesting. Well, she has blue, and then she has the white dress and like a blue over there, doesn't she? Well, that's not that long. Like, it just goes black, 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 and blue, blue. Great song. Excuse me. The lyrics, "Who knows which is which, from us and them," play as the Wicked Witch of the West sees the remains of her sister, the Wicked Witch of the East. Interesting. The song "Brain Damage" plays as the Scarecrow sings "If I Only Had a Brain." And I didn't know if I knew some of these. That's very interesting. It's worth noting that The Dark Side of the Moon is only 43 minutes long, while the runtime of Wizard of Oz is more than 100 minutes. Some say the experience ends when the album ends. Others suggest you should play the album again to witness more synchronized moments. The origins and validity. The Dark Side of the Rainbow phenomenon first gained attention in the mid-1990s, though it's not clear who originally discovered it. A radio disc jockey is credited with bringing the concept to the mainstream by discussing it on air in 1997. MTV News soon followed up with a story of its own, cementing the odd phenomenon's place in the movie and music history. The members of Pink Floyd have long denied any deliberate synchronization. It has also been pointed out that VHS technology didn't even exist when the album was recorded in the early 1970s, so the band would have had a tough time watching the movie during their recording sessions. So it's probably all just a theory. A movie, or a film theory. There we go. And music theory. Alright, so I think that's the last conspiracy theory, fact, whatever you would like to call it. I don't know, I might have to do the Dark Side of the Rainbow just to see what it's all about, to see if I actually believe it or not. So, I think that's going to be it for this video. Again, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and a comment below if you wanted to see me continue. Also leave a comment for questions for me for the 200 subscriber special. Probably also make a post about it, so probably this video comes out. Again, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, it would mean a lot to me. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and there will be more to come. So, with that being said, good night, everyone. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Good night, 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 everyone.